Go ahead.
And a very good evening. It is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Regularly scheduled meeting of the Bedminster Township Committee for July 16th, 2018. We have a quorum tonight. Ms. Santucci is going to be absent and excused. Can we have the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Yes, sir. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was sent to Courier News in Somerville and to the Burnsville News in Whippany. It was also sent to all subscribers and posted here at the Municipal Building as of January 8th, 2018.
I'll invite you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I get to the regular agenda, I just do want to mention something, and mention it right at the outset. Earlier this evening, the reason that I am uncharacteristically dressed well, or better than usual, was had the occasion to go up to the Bailey Funeral Home tonight and help pay respects to Ron Peterson. Ron served Bedminster extremely well for many, many, many years on our Board of Health. And the Board of Health is probably one of our best run subcommittees that we have in town. Al Fisher, Dr. Agathis, that whole group does an amazing job year after year after year, and Ron has been a huge contributor for many, many years. His wife Helen is probably one of the most popular people in town because she runs, and has for many years, run the children's library at the Clarence Dillon. So almost all our kids have had great experiences with Mrs. Peterson. So it was very sad tonight to talk to her and see her and know that she's going through a time of grief. But I just want to say on behalf of the township that we wish her and her family well. On the agenda, we do have two sets of meeting minutes tonight to review. July the 2nd, our regular agenda meeting, and our executive session. Does anybody have any comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve the July 2nd meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Permits and raffles. A raffle license for the St. Joseph Catholic Church, October 1st, 2018, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. That's an off-premise 50-50. Social affair permit, Friends of the Jacobus Vanderveer House, 355 River Road, July the 8th. This was previously approved, 2018, 1 to 4 p.m. So that was our event from the 4th of July week. Raffle license to the Center for Contemporary Art, October 12th, 2018, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's a merchandise raffle. Raffle license for the Children's Specialized Hospital Foundation on August 13th, 7 p.m. an on-premise 50-50, Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. And finally, a raffle license for the American Cancer Society, October 1st, 2018, 9 a.m., 7:30 p.m., Halen Farm Golf Club, an on-premise 50-50. Any comments or questions on any of those? Or I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Second?
Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Public comments. That microphone up there, twice every meeting, we open that microphone up to anyone that wishes to address the Township Committee on any topic related or unrelated to the agenda. Please, if you do come forward, state your name and your address for the audio record. Seeing none, we will move on to the monthly reports from our subcommittee chairs, and we'll start with Mr. Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I have no updates from our last meeting. I don't believe there's a JVH meeting for July, so more to follow, but nothing today.
Okay.
Mayor, thank you. Good
Mr.
evening.
Hickey?
How are you today? Just a couple quick items. The Lamington River Project, Mr. Bellardo and I are in receipt of agreements that were forwarded to us by Flint Hill Preserve late last week. We're in the process of reviewing them. We'll work with representatives from Flint Hill Preserve to figure out what is required from the township. The biggest issues obviously we're going to have are insurance, indemnification, and liability coverage. The plans have been informally reviewed by Paul Ferrero, who had no issues. Our target is to get everything reviewed and finalized prior to our next Township Committee meeting. Rec committee, we have a meeting tomorrow. I'll report out on that on the next meeting. And I'll cover from Ms. Santucci, Historic. We received a new inquiry regarding potential uses for the pony farm. We need to do another site visit for an informal estimate of remediation costs for the building. And want to check in with John Mance if there's anything from a maintenance standpoint, from your view, that needs attention right now. I know Stacy had mentioned the power washing in the building, but was there anything critical that you saw, John?
Not until we come up with some kind of a plan
All right,
at that point in time.
fair enough, fair enough. So probably be pestering you within the next couple of days, see if we can get a key to the building and run back out there and take another look at what needs to be done. And Mayor, that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jacobs?
Mayor, we had a land use board meeting last week. During the meeting, we discussed two things. One is there was a review of the pending ordinance on the Fair Housing Act. This is essentially adopting for the township the new affordable housing plan that the land use board previously reviewed and approved. So the land use board made a finding that the ordinance is consistent with the master plan, and they did that in time for our next, I believe we're on schedule for that ordinance
August 6th.
August 6th. So it's, we now have the approval from the land use board, and a good thing, because the land use board canceled the rest of the meetings for August, since there's really no pending applications right now. And then the other element of the land use board discussion was regarding the master plan, and there was discussion about moving forward, identifying geographic areas that should be assessed in a review of the master plan, as well as some other issues. There will be a master plan subcommittee at the land use board that will start convening in September, and this will probably be a process for several months to go. And they'll report back to the land use board, and as they report back to the land use board, Steve and I, as the liaisons, will report back to the Township Committee on how those discussions are proceeding. That's it for the land use board. And for environmental, there is a meeting coming up this week, subject to Renee finding out if we're going to have a quorum of members, and we can report back on that in August.
And Colin, just to let you know, the subcommittee Larry was talking about is basically to review what your subcommittee did and start winnowing down, concrete proposals.
Great.
So it's really to build on the work that you and your group did. So
Hope it was useful, Mayor, thank you.
it's an outstanding thing to outstanding foundation. I have several things. A plug. This weekend, Pottersville Antique Fair and dinners, is it Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, and lunches each day. So come out and eat. It's and bring some dollars to buy some wonderful antiques. It's all proceeds go to the Pottersville Fire Department, and every year it's a great event. And if anything, just come out and eat. It's a wonderful social event. And speaking of social events, I'm surprised, but the farmers market is turning into a tremendous social event. Every week we're seeing new people, but a huge core of the same people coming out, enjoying the goods from the farmers market. So that is continues to be a resounding success. And I know some of us here also were at the event last Saturday, the Field of Honor with the flags. Out by the Jacobus Vanderveer House. That was a great day. Got a lot of great coverage from Jake's paper and the Star Ledger and the Courier News, and it was tremendous that it got as much coverage. Hopefully next year we'll be able to also get even more people to come out, because a lot of people enjoyed it this year, but it'd be great if we could get even more people to come out and enjoy it. It was a great event. They had music, they had food, they had flags. It was a great event. It is turning into truly a tradition in town, and even News 12 had Abigail Wolko, who did a fantastic job. She was the star. She did a great job. So that's all I have. Ms. Sullivan, you have an administrator's
Couple
report?
quick things. This Saturday, Somerset County is sponsoring Operation Secure Shred throughout Somerset County. The towns, each of the towns is sharing this event with other towns. Bedminster is sharing with Far Hills and Peacock Gladstone here at our Public Works facility, 75 Miller Lane. So far, the events throughout the county have been very popular, and ours is this Saturday, as I said, from 9 to 1. Residents do not necessarily have to be a Bedminster resident, Far Hills or Peacock, they just have to be a Somerset County resident. And we will have three trucks here on site to accept documents that you would like to destroy. Residents are allowed to watch their documents be destroyed if they wish. And because of the anticipated popularity of the event, residents will be limited to 6 bags or 6 boxes. That doesn't mean you can't get back in line a second time if you wish. So that is this Saturday. Also, as an added item to the farmers market, we had a meeting last week to talk about what else should we be doing, what other groups should we be touching, and I got together with Janine DeLeon, who manages our senior transportation with our van, and she put together a flyer that she sent out to our senior residents. We have a mailing list, and beginning in August, we hope to be providing Saturday morning transportation for our seniors over to the farmers market. So it'll be like from, say, 10 to 11:30 or 10 to 11, about an hour or so. But
That's a great
to
idea.
Get them out, from Puckman Park and anywhere locally in Bedminster that will pick them up and take them over. So.
I hope folks avail themselves of it. I think they'll really enjoy it. That's a great
Yeah,
idea.
it's a nice event. And just lastly, just double checking with the police department today, there's been a paving project on Burnt Mills Road and Marston Valley Road. They finished up the last of the striping this morning, so that project is now.
I have been by that almost every night that they've had it, and the paving crew and the police department have really done a really good job of getting it all set up, getting it done quick. I think they've been fortunate to have fairly good weather throughout that, but I was impressed at how rapidly that happened. Also, how rapidly the 206 project a couple weeks ago went. So.
And the 206 project is continuing, but now into Bridgewater. So
Yeah.
our cops actually have now been requested to help out with that project coming into Bedminster. So you'll see our guys out there, but it's not for any paving in Bedminster, it's for the paving in Bridgewater that's going on.
And just to be clear, Steve, when you're talking about the 206 project, you're talking about the 206 project from Lamington up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Not
exactly.
necessarily the 202, 206,
No.
287 area.
No. I say that in contrast to the off-ramp from 287 past the Exxon station into the jug handle in Pluckerman, because that has not gone quickly. And we've asked and asked and asked in many various ways. I know our land use board representative, Mr. Truckoff, put a letter in Jake's paper saying what's going on with that. And I know we have been tireless in our efforts to try to find out what's going on with that. But you got to give credit where credit is due. I think those other projects we mentioned were county projects. I don't know if they were DOT projects. I'm not sure.
The
Burnt Mills?
Valley and Burnt Mills were county projects.
Yeah, there you go. Good hats off to the county. All righty. We have, I believe, one ordinance to introduce tonight.
Actually, it's been introduced, it's just for discussion.
Oh, this is just for discussion. So that's ordinance 2018-010. I'll read it for folks in the audience. That is an ordinance to address the requirements of the Fair Housing Act and the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls, UHAC, regarding compliance with Bedminster Township's affordable housing obligation. This ordinance amends the township's land use ordinance in compliance with the township's affordable housing obligation per requirement of the Fair Share Housing Act and Uniform Housing Affordability Controls. Public hearing for this ordinance is scheduled for our next meeting, August 6th, 7 p.m. in these chambers. Is there any member of the dais wants to talk a little bit about that? John, is there anything you wish to add?
No, we did have a meeting earlier this week, Mayor, as you're aware, with, or should I say, last week with our professionals, and went over a lot of the issues that face us regarding affordable housing, and an agreement with BHHC that Mr. Schmier has forwarded to me last Friday, and I'm going to be looking over that and getting back to him very shortly.
I don't thank Mr. Jacobs for putting that meeting together. I think it was necessary to get all the players in the room to make sure that all of our professionals and BHHC's professionals were all on board and knowing where we're going with this. Terrific.
If I could just add, part of the marketing plan, that's part of that ordinance that we introduced. Sharon DeSico and myself got together, and now there's links on our website to the various websites that we need to be coordinating with, so. those
Oh,
are
that's important too.
Those are
That's
all-
great.
Right.
Actually, we've reached out to try and see if we could even add some photos, but they're all up.
So, you know, it's interesting, and we bring this back to the discussions we had last year when we first started the efforts about changing the management and the provider for the website and the website itself. And this is just, it feeds right into this, that with the website, we're able to be in a position to better market the affordable housing options in Bedminster. So once again, improving the website with a more user-friendly website
So user-friendly.
help us in so many different ways. You may not think of, well, changing the website and the affordable housing ordinance and the affordable housing plan, but since the marketing plan is part of that and obligatory on the township, having an improved website is just feeds right into compliance with the ordinance and our obligations.
No,
So it's
Judy,
just great.
Sean, and the staff have done an amazing job in bringing up that new website. And again, it's so much more interactive. It's so much more flexible. It allows the town to be much more transparent and be able to provide a lot more access to people
It's
for information that we couldn't get out
You know, a
before.
link here, it's so easy, it's
Yep.
great.
Yep. It's always, every year it's a bugaboo. We always try to be able to have people have a little more access to the information. It may not seem that way, but I know that's always something that's high on the radar for this body and the administration. So we keep every year inching along, and it's great. So, anybody else have any comments on the ordinance or things related to the ordinance? All right, let's move on. We don't have any ordinances to introduce. We don't have any public hearing on ordinances tonight. We do have a consent agenda. 2 items on the consent agenda. Does anybody have any comments or questions on those? If not, can I get a motion for tonight's consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
We have 2 standalone resolutions tonight, 2018-066, stating that the Township Committee has reviewed the general comments and recommendations of the registered municipal accountant on the annual audit for 2017. I made sure I read over that last night. Does anybody have any comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Again, roll call vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
And related, Resolution 2018-067, approving the corrective action plan submitted by the CFO for 2018, which could also be the corrective action plan for other years. We have, for transparency, there's always been one comment on our audit every year, and it has to do with the segregation of duties, and it is something that this town is simply doesn't have a big enough staff to accomplish. We exhaustively went through this last year to try to figure out if there was any way we could rearrange the staff to meet that, and that was after, I think, 6 or 7 years ago when we exhaustively looked at it the previous time to see if there was anything we could do about it. And unfortunately, it is an item that we're not the only town. A lot of other small towns have this thing, but it's up to the auditor to point it out to us, and up to us to try to see if there's anything we can do about it, and I think it's going to go for another year.
So the resolution approving the corrective action plan, are we actually saying we're going to implement this? I mean, it doesn't seem that it's
So
possible. We
the
don't-
corrective action plan is just that the CFO is not capable to make any corrections due to staff.
We're answering
So
it.
it just
It's
stays
the
status quo.
response to-
It's a
okay.
Response as opposed to,
There's also an affidavit that'll be circulated after the meeting that needs everyone to actually sign for this particular resolution.
Any other comments or questions?
So, I mean, should it be a resolution responding, or should it be a resolution approving?
Let's look at the,
I think in most instances, it's always approving the auditor's report.
And then the CFO is required to respond to any comments, and that's called her corrective action plan. Doesn't necessarily mean that the problems will be incorrect, it's her response to those requests.
yeah. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Bill lists. Can I get a motion to approve the bill list pending the approval of individual invoices?
So moved.
Second.
Again, roll call vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Dickey?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thanks.
Discussion items. Is there any item of, that any member of the committee wants to bring up for discussion that we don't already have on tonight's agenda? Any new business? Which kind of sounds like the same thing, but
Has anybody reached out, Judy, for you with respect to the hauling, waste hauling?
No, not to me directly. I've not heard any comments from the staff either, so, other than the conversation here at the meeting.
Right, okay.
Just anecdotally, more folks checking their bills, calling and either getting reductions or switching.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
actually, was it just, I overheard at least 2 conversations at this week's farmers market on that subject. So it continues to bounce around the town, and people are doing a little more scrutiny, and, we thank Jim Alexander for bringing it to our attention, and for, for allowing us to publicize it, and people take advantage of it. That's great.
yeah, whereas this governing body doesn't have jurisdiction over that, we do have the opportunity to bring something up like that in public, and it's wonderful that Mr. Perry's employer saw fit to advertise it and get the word out. So sometimes just being a little bit of a squeaky wheel helps.
That's
And,
right.
So that's taking advantage of what we can take advantage of. So hopefully some people are able to make some more informed decisions. So thank you. And thank you for bringing that up, Larry. All right. Any other new business or any discussion items? We'll move to old business. Anything on the short-term rentals? We've had the resolution in the court.
Yeah, as far as I know, that was the only matter that was pending. I had mentioned at the meeting at the Hills Master North, that was not a concern per se of the leaders there, the board members, because it just wasn't in the plans. They don't permit short-term rentals as it is, so perhaps it's not as big of an issue in the Hills as once, thought or concerned about. So maybe that just sort of goes away. I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be a huge issue.
But I think we made the mention at the last meeting, we'd like to keep it on the old business, just to make sure we don't kind of lose
That's right.
oversight over it. Okay.
Just once again, this is anecdotally, but after land use board, we had some discussion about looking at these larger topics and perhaps policy issues, and wondering to what extent it works its way into the master plan, or recommendations from the board back to the township committee, or the township committee on its own. And one of those was short-term rentals in the hills. So North may not have looked at it, but some folks who live in Hills Village did express some concern about short-term rentals, and not that they've got their arm around the issue completely, but it's something that did raise concerns. So we should continue to keep monitoring it, and between all the, there's only 3 attorneys up on the dais right now, so we're short one.
We're down one.
We're
yeah.
down one, but John, you had indicated that you would continue to track
Yes.
any litigation or court decisions that come out on Airbnb and other short-term rental.
I think I sent an article
Right.
that I saw a couple weeks ago, Collingswood or some other town.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I remember
Yep.
that.
So I'll continue to do that.
Okay. And breaking. Do we have anything new in the world of engine braking since we last?
I'm still trying to track down for Chief the statutory cite we were given. I have a sneaky suspicion that it's been repealed or amended. It's no longer on the books. The copy was a little bit, the faded look on the paper, so the site that we looked at is no longer the site for the 80 decibels. So we're having a bit of an issue trying to track that down.
Looking for the decibel levels on noise?
Yes.
Try NJAC 7:29.
729?
Yeah,
AC?
AC. I believe off the top
We were
of my
looking at
head.
NJSA.
No, NJAC.
It's a DP, it's an environmental.
7:29, I think that's the state noise rate.
That's noise control.
Okay. So they took it out of statutes, put it in the administrative code?
There's a 1971 Noise Control Act, but I know as long as
Glad you
I
guys
can
track
remember,
this stuff. I'm completely
the levels that go from...
You're just showing off.
colon
right now.
230.
No.
I don't know.
You have
The
a
levels
problem
from
with that?
10 PM at night to 7 AM and 7 AM to 10 PM with the 65 and the 50, they're always in there. So and the disruptive noise, which is a single jarring noise, that's also in there.
Okay. Yeah, what they were showing us at the meeting we were at was something specific to engines, to motor
It
vehicles.
might very well be in there. It's pretty extensive.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
All right. Interchange improvements, 287, 78, 202, 206. We already alluded to this earlier. Is there anything we haven't mentioned that's coming up?
Committeeman Jacobs, myself, and Committeeman Stevenson have been all over the DOT by land, sea, and air trying to unlock that thing. So we've sent multiple emails, phone calls, and today I actually reached out to Assemblyman Peterson to see whether or not we could leverage his office to potentially unblock it, because obviously there's little to no work going on right now.
Yep.
It's a safety issue, particularly with the merge, the backup onto 287, we recognize it. We've heard it from multiple people across multiple venues, so we will work our hardest to get that thing unlocked and get them moving. I don't know if Committeeman Jacobs may have some additional insight.
So, I know that Colin sent a follow-up email to DOT on Thursday or Friday?
Correct, yeah, Thursday.
I sent one this morning following a discussion with a number of folks at the farmers market. So just as our website is new and improved and means of opening.
Are we going to have meeting minutes from the farmer's market?
No. Right? John?
I just sent everyone the
We don't have,
noise regs.
But at the market, we certainly I heard from a number of folks, both residents and some folks from Bridgewater and from Basking Ridge and from PPAC, asking about where we stand, and what is DOT doing, what is the current state of affairs with the improvements. I mentioned that Committeeman Hickey and Committeeman Stevenson had that meeting with DOT and got some nodding heads, and we'll look into it. We'll put our
right.
best people on it and get back to you guys. I just, Mayor, as you made reference to the squeaky wheel, I think it's the Township Committee's obligation to be that squeaky wheel and to continue to pester DOT for an explanation and to ask them to, as they've done in the past, to appear before us and let us know the status of the project. And most importantly, less concerned about the status of the project, but improving that situation. Just as Colin mentioned, that stop sign at the end of the ramp is a problem. And DOT really needs to look at it. And
When you
work
first
with-
get off 287 to take the ramp,
oh, yeah.
you're going to lose your teeth.
Yep.
I had a woman at the farmer's market tell me that she has to stop and adjust her mirror to see the oncoming traffic. You can't see it, and we all know it. I mean, everyone here takes that ramp. It needs improvement. The way the contractors have left it just is not a long-term or even a short-term solution pending the completion of the project. So we'll just continue to...
And no one's taken us up on the offer to come in and give us a lowdown, right?
The DOT community relations person for Bedminster was out last week,
Correct.
but should be back this week.
Let you know if I hear from Mary.
All right. Which now comes time for the second round of public comments. So if you have anything to say, and you haven't gotten to the farmer's market to talk to Larry about it in the past couple of weeks, anyway, Please feel free to come up to that microphone, state your name, state your address. You can address all four of us that are at least here tonight at the Township Committee, and please say whatever's on your mind.
I'm Renee Moreski, 20 Crestmont. I'm here just as the representative from Crestmont to the Hills Village Master, because last meeting you guys were talking about the short-term rentals, and just want to let you know that yes, in our section, we don't allow short-term rentals. I don't think under 6 months is allowed. One of the neighborhoods actually, it's under a year. The other thing that might help keep these things from coming in is that in order to use the gym or the pool, you need a pass, and you have to show a copy of your lease that's current to the person at the desk, pay your fee to get the card. So I don't know how that would work if you're going to be only there for 3 days. You're not going to get a copy of the lease, I'm sure, and want to pay for $25 so you can use the pool or the tennis courts or the gym. And then other than that, it's just a monitoring issue, and I don't know if anybody has somebody assigned to, monitor Airbnb or VVRO. That would be a lot of time for these groups that are mostly volunteer. But with those things in place, that hopefully that'll be a little bit of a deterrent for these kinds of short-term rentals.
Renee, is there any enforcement of those rules, do you know? Do the condo associations take action if they're aware of that, or the rules themselves enough to quell that activity?
The individual boards, and to differentiate, Hills Village Master owns no units, so they can't do anything. It's at the condo level. So yes, if somebody brought that to the board could enforce it and would write letters and stuff to the homeowners. But other than it being brought to their attention, there will be almost no way. But yeah, they are perfectly capable, because it's one of the rules in our bylaw, and that's their job, is to maintain that.
And I think you go on the Airbnb website, they'll have a listing of everything that's available, so it should be relatively easy to check. But I think you're right, it's enforcement and monitoring.
But one example, one of the guys who had his listing had it under a different name. So when you went to look and say, you have your site, your house listed, that's not me. And I'm not saying that that's how they should do it, but if there are ways people are getting around it, but if we can be vigilant, that'd be great.
Oh, so they don't necessarily list the address on Airbnb, they just may just show a unit and then contact that person.
And I know in that same example, the person who caught them had been to the open house because that person was trying to sell that condo and had seen the unit and knew by the pictures on the website, because it was a very distinct unit. That was my problem.
All right.
But any suggestions, I'd be happy to bring it to the Master Association and to, at least back to Crestmont.
Okay, and I guess it would also go this way as well. So if there's recommendations or comments from the association or the master back to the Township Committee, certainly bring those back here.
Happy to bring it back.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to come up and be heard tonight? Seeing none. We do have an executive session, which we do not have any, I don't believe we have anything coming out of that we'll be voting on, so I guess we could go to Township Committee comments at this time. Mr. Stevens?
Just very quickly, I think we may have missed it on new business, but we got a letter from a resident about the shopping center paving. It's too late for that, right?
I did not-
I reached out to Paul Ferrero,
Uh-huh.
and he gave us some good comments about what we could and couldn't react to, what we had control over and what we didn't have control over. I did reach out to the gentleman who came before us, the contractor, who came for the special use permit, because he said he's worked with a lot of towns before, and he never had a town like Bedminster that worked with him so closely, so he was very appreciative. I forwarded the comments to him, and he promised to share those with the property owner to see what they could accommodate, and he said he'll get back to me. So, no promises that we could compel them to do all those things.
All right. Good.
That's it, yeah.
Colin?
Mayor, no comments, thank you.
Larry?
We will have music At the Farmers Market, August 4th, we have 2 local residents who will be performing at the Farmers Market.
These two guys?
These 2 guys.
All right.
That's
two
great.
guys.
So that's Greg Brown and
Jason Rich.
Jason Rich will be agreed to perform, and we may be looking for additional performers as we move into August. Always trying to keep the farmers market fresh.
And bring your dog.
And bring your dog. We're doing photos on Facebook and Instagram of the dogs of the market. So
Watch out what you wish for. Watch out what you
I have
wish
a
for.
great-
you have a
Watch
dog.
out what you wish
I
for.
have 3 dogs.
Yeah, I got one that'll disrupt like 3 dogs. I got a 1-dog bumpus hound, so. All right. And I do not have anything else that I wish to add at this time, so can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Good job on the time. Perfect.
All right, thank you, Art.
Everybody, have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Art. Thank you, Art.
Thank you.
Tell me when the camera's running.
Back up.
And a very good evening. It is 9:24, and we have just returned from executive session. No further business tonight. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Good night.
Tomorrow?